You wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for a man by the name of Larry Gibson, who spent his life preserving this mountain for folks like y'all to come up here and see the destruction that's wrought by the coal industry in this state.
We're here because Larry Gibson preserved 50 acres of his ancestral land after being offered $1 million an acre for it. Whoa. Yeah. $50 million for the piece of land that you can see right here that you're standing on. And he said no. And he used to say, look at you and say, what is the one thing in your life that you can't put a price on? What is the one thing that somebody could come in and offer you any amount of money for that you would never sell? Think about that. What is that thing in your life? Well, that thing for Larry was this land. And the coal companies, when he turned them down, they said, one day you will be an island and we will be the ocean. And I would suggest that that day has come. You're on an island right now, and this point in this property used to be the low point. What you're going to see, that mountain used to be so high that you couldn't see light through those trees over there. So they've lowered the mountains around this point by 500 to 1,000 feet all the way around. That's where you're sitting right now. What you're going to see is going to impact you, and I hope it puts a fire in your belly. You know, Larry used to say, I want you to leave pissed off. You might be pissed off at me, or you might be pissed off at this situation, but I want you to leave pissed off and ready to do something about it and continue that energy.
So what y'all are looking at now, right over there, that's Coal River Mountain. That is the last partially intact mountain in the Coal River watershed. Yeah, that's what a mountain is supposed to look like. I grew up at the foot of that mountain. You know, my folks live 10-15 miles from here. My great-grandparents are buried on this mountain. You know, the grave's only protected because of Larry. And so, yeah, just thought I'd just point that out and show you guys what a real mountain is supposed to look like before we get up here and see what these mine sites look like.
Larry would tell you that years ago, back in the mid-'80s, is when he used to start hearing the mine blasts way far away. And by the end of the 80s, early 90s, they were right in his backyard. And when I came up here and started working, this mountain was still here. And since 2005, they've lowered it almost 1,000 feet from the original contour. So you're looking at the insides of a mountain, basically, from the blasting.
My name is Junior Walk. I'm 22 years old, born and raised in southern West Virginia in the Coal River Valley. And right now we're sitting on Kayford Mountain, or what used to be part of Kayford Mountain. And they started this surface mine out here in the early 1990s. And the only reason we can sit up here and look at it is because of the work of a man by the name of Larry Gibson, who spent a good chunk of his life trying to preserve Kayford. For people to come up here and see what was happening in West Virginia and see this destructive process firsthand. And you know, Larry passed away a couple of months ago, but we're all up here still continuing his work and remembering him. And yeah, we're going to continue to do that until they stop.
So this rock I'm sitting on here, this borehole shows that this was once part of that mountain over there where they had bored down into it to put ammonium nitrate for blasting to expose coal seams. And it ended up way up over here rather than somewhere deep in that mountain where it started.
Let's start with your name.
Sure. I'm Colin Bennett. I'm from Connecticut. I learned about mountaintop removal about 10 years ago, 2002 or 2003. And my first trip to Appalachia, though, to actually see mountaintop removal firsthand after learning about it and hearing about it for many years, was right here to Kayford Mountain. And that was in 2008. And we came here because this is, like I said, the protected area that Larry, through Larry's efforts, have been protected. And I was with a group similar to the group that we have here for Mountain Justice Spring Break, except it was in the fall. But we went out to see the mountaintop removal, and then we came back and Larry was speaking to us right here. And he was telling us specifically about his story and the story of the mountain. But at the end he said something to the group, and like I felt like he was speaking to me personally, but I feel like everybody probably felt that. But he looked at all of us and he said, if you come here and you see what you see and you learn what you learn and you go home and you don't do anything about it, you've wasted my time. And that really hit me, because I'm not from here, but when I saw this, it was one thing. When I saw mountaintop removal, the devastation, it hit me like a rock. It was literally a visceral experience. But what really drove it home was when Larry, you know, looked at all of us and said that. And Larry, like I said, even though he was saying it to the group, I've talked to many people who he said that to, or something along those lines. And Larry just had that special ability to make everybody feel special. And I met Larry, you know, probably a dozen times, maybe more. And even though I'm sure he probably didn't remember me, because he met thousands of people a year, like every time he'd see me, he'd say, "It's so good to see you again." And I'd be like, "Larry, it really truly is good to see you." And so when he passed away last year, it was really a crushing blow. Although, you know, having him buried here on the mountain, and for folks that never got the chance to meet him, it's kind of like a spiritual experience, because this is my first time back here since Larry passed. And it was emotional. So I think that everybody should try to come here and appreciate what Larry protected, but then also have the opportunity to show, you know, what he's protecting it and what he was protecting it from. So that's all I have to say about that.